Welcome back to the Moon Talks with Dad channel. Picture this. You go through your day and 19 wonderful things happen. You have a great lunch, the commute is clear, you finish a big project. But one person makes a slightly critical comment. By the time you go to bed, you're staring at the ceiling, replaying that single minor friction point over and over again. It is incredibly frustrating to feel like your mind is sabotaging its own peace. But this obsession with negative events is not a personality flaw. It is a biological feature. For hundreds of millions of years, the primary job of our ancestors' brains was to keep them alive in a dangerous environment, which meant prioritizing the detection of threats above everything else. Neuroscientists officially call this the negativity bias. Your brain is a highly evolved survival engine, and feeling happy doesn't keep you safe from predators. Spotting danger does. Because of this, the human brain naturally amplifies fear and anxiety while letting moments of joy slip by completely unrecorded. To understand why this happens, look at this breakdown of how our memory actually works. On the left side, we have explicit memory. This is your mental filing cabinet, how you recall facts, dates, or the route to the grocery store. On the right side is implicit memory. These are the deep emotional imprints and subconscious reactions that literally embed themselves into our neural architecture. Notice the asymmetry here. When you experience something painful or threatening, those negative events immediately cement themselves deep into the implicit memory network. Your brain clings to them like Velcro. But positive experiences, like a compliment or a beautiful sunset, often bounce right off. They sit in a temporary buffer and dissolve before they ever make it into long-term storage. We no longer live in the wild, but our biology hasn't caught up. Today, instead of predators, we face a constant barrage of information, like news alerts, social media comparisons, and work emails. This modern overload continuously triggers our ancient threat detection mechanism, trapping the brain in a chronic reactive state of high alert, known as the red state. Because of this default setting, objective safety and material success are not enough to bring us peace. Unless we actively intervene to change how our brain processes information, our own biology will ensure we remain anxious and on edge. The way out of this trap lies in a mechanism called neuroplasticity. The neural pathways in your head physically alter themselves based on what you focus on most. In neuroscience, there is a principle known as survival of the busiest. The circuits you use frequently become thicker and faster, meaning you can literally sculpt the physical architecture of your mind. Look at this breakdown of our internal emotional strength. Dr. Rick Hansen points out that only 1/3 of our psychological resilience is dictated by genetics. The other 2/3 is built through daily practice. We have direct control over the majority of our mental framework. The goal is to take that 2/3 and use it to manually shift the brain out of that reactive, anxious red state and anchor it permanently into a responsive, peaceful mode called the green state. In this diagram, we see the 3 evolutionary layers of the brain: the reptilian core, the mammalian emotion center, and the logical primate cortex. When you enter the green state, these layers stop fighting each other. They operate in perfect harmony, generating genuine feelings of safety, satisfaction, and social connection, regardless of what is happening externally. Achieving a lasting sense of happiness is a systems engineering problem. To fix the imbalance, we need an operational manual to execute the green state override and force our neural pathways to hold on to the good. That manual is Dr. Hansen's HEAL framework. It is an actionable method designed to counterbalance the brain's natural memory asymmetry by manually installing positive experiences. Step 1 is have, as in have a positive experience. This requires you to intentionally notice the good things that are already happening around you. It means pausing to appreciate the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun, or gratitude for your laptop. Step 2 is Enrich. This chart illustrates the critical flaw in how we usually process joy. We let it fade too fast. To prevent a positive moment from being deleted from your brain's temporary buffer, you must hold your focus on it for 10 to 30 seconds. You have to stretch the experience out. To truly enrich the moment, you bring in your physical senses. If you are walking outside, feel the texture of the bark on a tree. Listen to the wind. Notice the temperature of the air. Engaging multiple senses increases the intensity of the experience, signaling to your brain that this data is important enough to keep. Step 3 is absorb. Much like this dark ink permanently altering the fibers of textured paper as it spreads, you must let the positive feeling physically sink into your body. You are consciously deciding to let the warmth and peace of that moment soak in, converting a temporary burst of data into permanent neural architecture. The final step is link. Once you have generated and absorbed a strong positive emotion, you hold it in your mind alongside an old painful memory. By introducing this new, fortified positive energy into the same space as the pain, you gently soothe and overwrite the negative implicit memories. It is important to note that the link step requires a solid baseline of emotional strength. If a wound is particularly deep, confronting that trauma directly without preparation might immediately trigger your body's intense fight or flight response. In those cases, working with a professional therapist is the safest way to navigate the process. By routinely practicing these 4 steps, you force your brain to treat fleeting moments of joy with the exact same urgency, weight, and permanence that it naturally reserves for pain. The implications of this are highly practical. We are not prisoners to our evolutionary biology. Peace of mind is a trainable, physical skill that you can build through reps rather than a static personality trait you either have or lack. Every time you deliberately install a positive experience, you lay another brick. Over time, those tiny moments compound, building an impenetrable internal fortress of resilience that protects you from the stress of daily life. Look at this network map and imagine it on a global scale. We know how this rewiring heals an individual, but what happens to society at large when millions of human brains simultaneously shift out of chronic stress and into the green state? A brain operating in the green state naturally produces more empathy, patience, and connection. Widespread shifts in our individual neurobiology serve as the biological prerequisite for building a more compassionate and peaceful human race. The greatest systemic improvements we can make for humanity begin with a deliberate, manual software update of our own minds. When we choose to hardwire our own happiness, we build the foundation for everything else. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.